G'day citizens, welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by the Astropub himself, Paul Shelley. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, how are you?
Surviving. We're halfway. Halfway.
Almost there.
I am not dead quite yet. I will be the Walking Dead by the end of this though. So yeah.
Yes.
The memes have begun. We'll talk more about the memes in the buyer's guide, which will be the next episode after this one. The jokes are writing themselves. Let's just put it that way.
All I'm going to say is for that is it's not about the size of the size; it's how you use it. That's the preview for that one.
I like how Piss Poor Pete put it earlier. He's in an audio chat with us, and he literally said it's just small enough to stop Disney from suing. I thought it was so good. And the references to the Alpha and the Chad. These jokes that they should not have made that fin smaller. They should have doubled it or something. Yeah, it's 2 fins, but whatever. All right, so let's kick it off across to the browser and get into this. We've got a few to go over today. First of which, you're probably going to hear that because I went into the game. But anyway, by mistake.
Just do it. We're going to do a buyer's guide a little later. So
yeah. So I've still got the game open in the background. Right. So we'll kick it off today with I'm just going to have to make this smaller and then bigger. Sorry, I put it on the wrong screen. Kruger. We did hear back that there is no CCU, but a Warbond CCU for the Alpha Wolf. Which means that it is going to cost you an additional
$5.
Yeah, $5. And that's probably why, because it's just so small.
They don't do Warbond CCUs for less than $5.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's it. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, but there is a Warbond. It is for the Mirai Guardian, and it's okay.
How much is it for?
We'll look at it when we go through. Yeah, we'll look at that one. But anyway, L21 Wolf.
I can start.
Yeah, go for it.
It's I will just be the stand-in for Algrid. Because Algrid and I have been the ones who are like, they need to make ships. They need to make good ships, and the ship. We've said forever that the company that should have made the Ares was Kruger. And it seems like CIG is finally bringing that to fruition, and they're realizing, wow, Kruger is really fun and cool to make. And it's like, yeah, you could have listened to the Inforunners on this one, CIG. We were telling you that this would have been cool and fun to make, and you're like, now it's cool and fun to make. It's like, bet you wish you made the Ares in with Kruger. Would have been a much cooler look.
Paul did suggest something earlier, and I'm now starting to think, Paul, your idea, but with a size 7 gun, could be quite interesting.
Yes. So for those who don't know, the original Vanguard was designed heavily off of the P-38 Lightning. I believe that's the name.
I meant your direwolf idea. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Size 7.
Yes. A size 7 nose beam. Yeah. Because this is also not the last time we're going to see a wolf. We'll talk about it when we get into the buyer's guide.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about the P-38 Lightning idea that I think that would be a cool idea and the fans would really like. I'll basically, Kruger is in such an interesting place in like aesthetics wise, that taking a P-38, which was at the time of its release in World War II, one of the most futuristic looking airplanes that they had made. And if they took that and they tried to do it with like the retro sci-fi of the 50s, I think the aesthetics would match perfectly, and they would just print money. People would buy it just for the aesthetics. Not even like it could be the worst plane or worst ship in the game. People would buy it because the aesthetics. But as long as it matched that like nimble, highly accurate, highly like very fast sort of ship, it's just like that's the medium range for Kruger. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
But the Wolf's good. The Wolf is solid. It's a good light fighter. I'll let you go. Sorry.
I'm trying to channel my inner bops here, just based on some stuff that Lemming talked about when we were in the voice chat earlier. I think this is the better of the two wolves, mainly because it's got more health and a higher top speed, so it gives it that like edge and maneuverability. and essentially get better weapons on the alpha with the extra missiles or the bigger missiles and stuff like that. So from everything I've heard from any PvPer I've talked to and stuff like that, maneuverability is pretty much king. So based on that, I think this is probably the better one. And again, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a you could turn the fin off, right, if you don't like the fin, right? But I actually just like the sleeker design of this one. I don't like the new dual fins. Kind of looks like if you remember those, do you remember those hard hats where they used to have beer cans on the side and you drink out of a straw? Kind of reminds me of those around the cab of the Alpha Wolf. But yeah, at $100, I think the light fighter, it's not too bad. It's a luxury light fighter, especially now if you can, you can go back to this older version and put those laser repeaters on it. And they will be earnable in game eventually, but even at $12, it's not too unreasonable. I think they kind of learned a little bit from the kits. You notice how the kits were just weapons this time around? They weren't skins, they were just weapons. So they've learned, don't bundle shit because it pisses everyone off. And if I can just get that into the person that's doing the patch bundles, I will be happy as Larry. Because again, as soon as
there's nothing wrong with the patch bundles as long as they're individually available as well. That's the key. Make it a discount.
No, you can have the whole bundle, but also have them available separately for more, right? So you could probably make more money if you do the math, because if I own a wolf and the skin comes out and the skin is for a spirit, but I really like the armor, am I going to buy the armor to get the skin for a ship I don't own? No, I'm not. Because the skin is the most expensive item in the whole bundle. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we are totally off tangent today. Right, I'm moving right along. Alpha Wolf, $120.
We'll talk about. So it's actually more than $5.
Yeah, so been like it's essentially 15, right? But again, because of the way that CCUs work, you can't do one.
Yeah.
Because it would have
make a lot of sense.
Well, it'd be only
$10.
You would have only been buying at $5, and they just don't see that as enough money. You see, so that's why they've removed it, because that's just why they've done it.
Yeah, they tend to not do $5. They tend to be $10 just at the smallest.
Our tiredness is getting to us too, because it is 105 at Warbond. That's why it's got to
at Warbond. That's why. So that's my brain.
No, that's fine.
I was gonna say. I was like, wait, yeah.
But
it's fine. We'll do a buyer's guide on this. The best way of putting this is that it's a trade-off. It's a side grade rather than an upgrade or a downgrade. The regular wolf is faster, but this wolf is more maneuverable. The regular wolf has less missiles. This has more missiles. I'm sure that the capacitors are going to matter more, so you probably have more shots with the energy weapons on the Alpha Wolf than you would on the regular wolf.
Yeah,
because it's built around it. So,
does it even
if you got the Alpha Wolf and you swapped it out with the guns, with the ballistic guns, it would end up probably be less. There might be some CIG might have more ammo in the regular wolf, so you have less ammo in total or something like that. They'll do some trade-offs there.
Well, and we'll check into that before we do so. Right. There's only 2 more to go. The Merlin. Again, you can see that middle gun. That's kind of what Paul was talking about. Like, essentially, if you look at the Kruger,
we'll talk about it when we get to the dire wolf. But I feel like that middle gun there in the Merlin is going to be there's going to be a callback with the third variant of the wolf, which everyone I'm pretty sure is going to call the dire wolf.
We should probably say that we made the name dire wolf. Paul made, or we made, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not real. Just don't freak out. There's no third version confirmed.
There's no actual dire wolf. It is something like that. I do think the Archimedes is the best version of this, if you can get them. Because of those energy repeaters, just make it so much more survivable. And I have seen, myself included, these things survive longer in combat than the just because they can stick it out, and
you don't run out of ammo. You don't run out of ammo.
And they're not bad in terms of maneuverability. They're really weak if they get hit. But like, if you have 1 or 2 or 3 of these, they can fit in like almost side by side in an Idris. So you could fly a ton of them out of an Idris, and they'll give you the only problem is they don't give you a lot of killing power. They're more like annoying bees rather than.
It was also meta in the racing for a little bit as well. Back in the day.
Fast.
So there's a really cool Emerald version. You can get your hands on it. It looks almost black too, which is kind of cool. Right, moving right along, we are going to Mirai.
So
let's have a quick look at this upgrade. and see how sleep deprived I am and see if I can do this quickly. Lemming is in the background, so I can grab him if I need him. But I would say probably the Mercury Starrunner. Speak up and correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm right, don't worry about it. Lemming, I'm gonna.
I would do the triage just because it had a warbond, or has a warbond now.
Oh yeah,
or maybe
it
went away. I don't know.
It just had one. So yeah,
do
the one that you've got personally. But again, if you're going, I always find older is better. But he is right. There was a triage in September when that dropped, but it probably has been removed now. But I personally do have that one, so I probably would grab that one. So try and find one that links to one that you have. If you don't have one, like this is your first kind of sale, I'd probably just go the Mercury because it's older. But yeah, both those are completely valid based on what you just said, Lemming.
How much of that savings was that?
Let's double check. So that would take it by $20, and
that's not bad.
Yeah, that would cost you 10, and save you 20.
And for those of you who are just kind of popping on this because you're like really excited about the wolf or whatever, who don't know how this works, the very brief breakdown is that if you can chain these upgrades together, one ship to another, eventually when you get to the ship you actually want, you can have savings of hundreds of dollars for ships. But you have to be very patient and you have to be very planning. It's gambling, really, because you don't know what's going to break what chain and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I got a Polaris for $110.
Yeah.
But that took like 4 years.
I have a ironclad. I'm sitting on an ironclad assault for like it's like saving like $150 to $200 off of it.
Yeah.
So.
And I had to beat that into pool over multiple years. It is not an easy system to understand. And one of the fun things is because you'll be there when Space Tomato turns up at the end if we end up doing like a guide. That's so good. Yeah, because he only comes back to it every 12 months and he's forgotten again. So it's like teaching someone new every year. It's brilliant. I love it. Right. The Fury, $55. Really hard pill to swallow for me at the price point. It's kind of like a vehicle because it doesn't have the it's kind of like the Merlin where there's no jump drive. So it just drops it into this lower quality of ship. There are a few ships that suffer from this, but it's the most expensive of them too. And I would say, well, we talk about the MPUV a lot. That's way more functional and useful than this is, in my personal opinion. But your thoughts on the Fury?
I don't like it. I never liked the Fury. It always felt like a waste, but I get why it exists. But the thing that I always come back to is in a universe where death matters, why would you put yourself in a death capsule?
I'm still waiting for something that's more of a mothership than the TAC. I want something that
Protoss. A Protoss carrier.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Like you imagine like a Mirai capital ship, and it's just like 12 of these, 8 out each side or something like that. It would just be bananas. I think it'd be amazing. And they're all turrets, and then all of a sudden they it's abandoned ship time, and they're just like, it'd be great. I just like life pods and all that all in one go, and then all of a sudden, right, you killed our capital. It's to the death. Let's go. I reckon that'd be mad. But it just seems somehow really appeals to me. But I'm a bit psycho, so yeah. Right, Fury Alex, same thing, just purely a racing variant. I think if you were to go a Fury, this would be kind of where it's at. But again, I think there are better races. These ships are very fun to fly, I will say that. But as you said, they're a really high risk because you're essentially, if you die, you're stuffed. So yeah, I don't know. It's not going to be for everyone. But I think there's got to be better races out there, surely. I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, yeah. I don't know racing that well, but I don't see it a lot pop up. It comes back down to that it requires a lot of support.
Yeah.
Whereas like M50, you can take it around wherever you want to go. Same with 350R. Even the Mustang Gamma can go because it's got a quantum drive. This thing doesn't have a quantum drive, so you have to like carry it around the ship, and at
that price, you're not talking much extra to get a jump drive. again,
Mustang Gamma is not that much more than this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, you can earn it in game really cheaply as well. So because it doesn't have that jump drive, it's just disgustingly cheap. So yeah, really, really overpriced in my opinion. I think it wouldn't be even compared to the Merlin and that. I actually think this should have been $40, and even then, I still wouldn't recommend it because it's like a vehicle. Just buy them in game. Right. The Fury MX. This is just a missile variant of the default, but it's got a I guess a bit of armor on the faceplate. It's the same shit as the other two, basically. It just there's no guns. It's kind of crazy. It's like it's what you said, Paul. It's basically taking, like, you're gonna even more likely to die, basically. So
it's the issue. The issue with the MX is it's relying on missiles, which right now are very hit and miss.
They're getting better though.
I feel like the Furies more than anything else are sort of like the NPC ships. There's a lot of ships that feel like CIG built them for NPCs to use as enemies. Like I could see Furies being a great swarm enemy where you're like, you can take on one Fury, but how about 30? You know, and you can shoot them down, but like you either feel like an utter badass, or you feel like you're getting overwhelmed and outmaneuvered. That could be the case. It's just a matter of how CIG wants to go with the.
You mentioned,
but again, CIG has this rule where it's basically, if we're going to make this as an NPC ship, why don't we make it for players to use? You know,
I can almost see the Furies being used as like some kind of secret science installation, and you rock up, and they basically like come out, and they're almost essentially trying to kamikaze you and take you out, like with all like just a huge swarm of them. I could see that happening, but we'll see. Right, I think we can. I should have bundled the last three together, but I think we can bundle at least the Quai and the Guardian together. They're essentially the same. You lose a little flight characteristics to get a quantum dampener, which is the one that holds people in place. It doesn't pull you out, just holds you in place. But you still have a bed and all that. And the guns are exactly the same between those two versions. The MX, you lose the 2 size 5 guns and you gain 4 size 4s, but you also lose the bed. And for the fun of that, it goes up by like, I don't know, $40 or $30 in the case of this one. So it is probably the better of them, to be honest with you, because of the fire rate of the guns. I think this one's tailored more at kind of punching up, because we know that line is size 4 to size 5s. So this is designed to punch up to like bigger ships like Constellations and stuff like that, where this one is more
anti-fighter. It punches down.
It's like a heavy fighter, but it punches down. Exactly. Do you know this?
I'll say about these,
Bob says
they're very popular.
Bob says this is his favorite heavy fighter. So he says it walks the line between a medium and a heavy, and that's why he likes it.
I've seen some people use Guardian MXs. It's the people I know who use them are people who actively do fighter gameplay, and they love it. So it's good for what it does. The only disadvantage of it is it comes down to that bed. We don't know the value of that bed. We know that the beds might become a big value in the future, and as a result, this might restrict its usage as like a carrier fighter or a base fighter, rather than being something you can like go multiple systems with.
I did upgrade into this one, and then I kind of waned on it, and then I essentially turned it into a paladin. And again, at the time it was only $10 extra, and now the paladins jumped up quite a bit. But I'd still, like, again, look at the price you're paying. It's so much little, and all of a sudden it jumps to a 4-seater gunship. At its price, it's a really hard pill to swallow, but you are paying for that premium of a heavy fighter. But combat's always been really expensive in this game. Sell your fighters. That's why we say it. It just doesn't work on paper.
It works if you're focusing on it, but if you're focusing on it, it's the question becomes down to, is that worth more than a F8 or a Scorpius or a Hurricane? Like when you're coming down to the actual gameplay of it.
The Pulse. We could probably bundle these ones together. We've just got the 2.
The Pulse is better than the Alex. I like the Alex,
absolutely.
but the Pulse.
Yeah.
The Pulse is so good. It's such a force multiplier.
Yeah.
So
you can. I know PC 101 loves to sneak these inside facilities and actually shoot people. It's quite cool because they're so small.
Yeah.
I've even seen him get one through a vent. Crazily enough. So, but it is a really good ship that fits in a lot of smaller ships, and just because of its size, it makes it really attractive. It's not the best bike, not by a long shot, but it is really, really good for its size. But it is 100% an earning game, being a vehicle, and it is already available in game to buy. So, yeah. I can't really add any more, and it's the same for the LX. I can't almost see any reason why you'd want to take an LX over the gun, because again, even if you go in A to B and that danger pops up, I'd rather have the gun than not have the gun.
Yeah.
Best
advantage of the pulse. You can fit it fits in the cutter too.
Actually, dragonflies fit in the cutter.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, in the clipper. Sorry, in the clipper. The clipper.
Oh, the clipper. Yeah.
Yeah, they both fit in the clipper too. So, but yeah, in that front ramp section is what we're talking about. Like it. If you move the ship around, it's clearly going to bang into the walls because then they have something to hold it down. But it does technically fit, and you'll be able to kind of make it work. Right. The Razor and the Razor EX and the LX. For me, there is only one variant, and it is the EX. What is it for you, Paul? Out of those three?
Same. The EX is such a good for its stealth capabilities. It's got some guns, but its stealth is huge. Yep. I can see the Razor variant and the Razor LX as being good for possibly racers, but I haven't heard a lot of. I've talked with racers, and I haven't heard a lot of them gush about the Razor so much. But everyone I've talked to who has who's not necessarily into racing will talk about it. When they talk about Razors, they talk about the EX, because you can spawn these things on a vehicle pad.
I've never kind of really understood why there's two racing variants. It's like, oh, here's this one, and then here's a better one.
And this is the luxury. Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you just buy the better one? It's $5. Like, I just don't get it. This, though, I think will really have a heyday when we kind of get the more espionage and like scouting out other people's bases. Seeing in a really small stealth ship that can essentially get in, visually see something, and get out. Will be highly, highly valuable. And I really think this thing has a place, and there's nothing else really quite like it due to its size and speed. I know people will say the Hornet, stuff like that, but this is even smaller again. And it's a lot faster. It's not, if the Hornet is trying to be stealthy and combat-y, this is leaning way more into the stealthy and speed. And I think that there's nothing else that kind of hits like this does. Again, you got to remember it used to be Misc, and it's now Mirai as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. Out of the Razors, that is. Right, and we're done with that. And we're on to Misc. Oh, our baby, Paul.
Hold on.
Oh,
May she ever reign in eternal glory, Endeavor,
yes.
our savior, as high priest of the cult of the Endeavor. Do you want to give him the spiel about why it's so good?
I think, long story short, it's going to grow. It has to grow on many different metrics. It does a lot of gameplay, and it just had it's kind of like what we were talking about the Reliant a couple of days ago, going up in price. This thing has to go up in price, and with all the things it's got, it's probably going to double. And this is just taking on board things that happen to like the Banner Matchman, the Whole Sea. It's going to happen to the Reliant. It's happened to other ships as well.
Before metrics, there was made before metrics.
Yep. And they've literally said that it'll hold an Apollo in its cargo area. But now the Apollo's also grown by 20%. So does that mean it's grown by an even more? So I don't know. And
not cargo, but it's hangar. It's hangar.
We did ask
hangar attachment.
We did ask John about this, and we said, we know what it is, but like, do you want to kind of detail it out so we could really tell people? And everything we've been saying about this thing, you said, yeah, you guys are just bang on with everything you kind of say, and it's got all this different gameplay in it, and then it's just like he never would have designed it that way because it just does too much. It is, those ships people look for, like an I win button ship. It's like the I win of science and industry.
Industry. It's it's everything that's non-combat. It's a non-combat capital ship. And the way I like to point it is that front section right there that you see, that is effectively an Odyssey.
Yep.
And it will detach and be able to come back and reattach.
Yep.
you have an Odyssey without the mining capabilities and probably not the cargo bay as your front drive as your front module, and your drive module has all of these different attachments. So it's like, do you want an Odyssey plus all these different additions? It's like it's a no-brainer. Like this thing is it's got a hangar bay which is supposed to hold an Apollo or two Cutlasses side by side, which means you can put pretty much a freaking constellation in it. You know,
you will be waiting a really long time to get it, though. That is the downside.
It ain't coming out until like close to like 2 to 3 years after Star Citizen has been released. This is the only issue.
It will be one. So if there's apparently around about 20 ships left on the backlog, this is probably going to be the last of the backlog ships to get out because it has all 100%. This other gameplay in front of it. And John said the same thing. But when you look at, say, something like a Galaxy that's $25 more than this currently, and you look at the 3 or 4 modules, it ain't got nothing on this.
One at a time.
Yeah.
It has to have one at a time. This thing can have multiple modules attached at the same time.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's what, like, $10 or $15 for CCU for this?
You can get a Starfarer Gemini, which is a ship that's already out, so it's unlikely to increase in price to this for $10. And it again, just have it sitting there. It costs you $10. If you leave it in your buyback and the ship comes out, but it'll go up. But you could probably safely put it in your buyback and buy it back at it, but before it comes out, because they will tell us that it's the last chance before it starts to go up in price, because that's something they've established now. They're going to tell us before things jump now. I think you could safely leave it in your buyback. But again, I've got a couple of them that I'm just sitting on. It's $10. It's such a tiny investment. And again, whether you sell it or keep it yourself,
a meal at McDonald's, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. Not even that anymore. We rave about it because it's just one of those ships that are going to save you a lot of money, and it also does a lot. And you can clearly see all the different things it's going to dovetail with.
The only thing I will add to this is I've heard a lot of people say, well, I've got a master pack or the complete pack. And the answer, we usually say don't necessarily get that because you can earn those in game.
Yeah.
Especially when this comes out, they'll probably be earnable in game the same time that this releases. But the reason why is because like the complete pack, I think it's called the master pack.
Yeah.
Is
master set.
Master set is like twice the cost of this.
More than it's over $1,000. So you could almost get 3 of these for one price of the master set. Almost, not quite, but almost. And I would say you would be better off to have 2 of these. By the way, you need 4 endeavors to use every piece in the master set.
Yes. And that's the thing, is that also if you're going to use an endeavor, there's got to be some, you're probably going to be using maybe 1, maybe 2 sets in total. You're probably not going to use every single set in an endeavor because like if you're like an engineering or science-based person, you're never going to use the agropods. You're not going to use the medical facilities. You might use the hangar, but like everything else is going to be, just mostly focused on that. If you're in a medical facility, you're not going to use the science-based stuff. You might use the agropods because you might be able to grow some stuff with some extra stuff. But like, so there's going to always be some stuff you don't use.
It's
so you're
a really good
wasting
example.
money on stuff of stuff you won't use.
You're not going to use the telescope pod in conjunction with the biopods as an example. It just doesn't work. But yeah, it's a fantastic ship. I think we've carried on about enough, but highly recommended. Big rubber stamp, Inforunners approved on that one. Right, the Expanse. Now, we've just had word from someone earlier today. I will open this. Pete sent me this, so thank you to Pete and Lemming for this. Yeah, apparently the SCU on this is doubled. So it went from 64 to 128. That tells me 2 things. One, they're probably working on this in some form of pre-production state.
We know they are. And they've mentioned it. They joked about it. Yeah.
But it does need to come. I've been saying for a while, you really need to have, salvage and mining are the 2 main feeders at the moment in the game. You then have to be able to refine to turn it into things that base building can use. So it is really you could probably slam this into the stations. We already have it in the stations, so to speak, the refining. But to actually have it to right there where you're building your base, I can see this clearly coming next year. It makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of speak on that really quickly. So yeah, $150 profession starter. a fairly large profession starter too, if you kind of think about it, compared to the Prospector and stuff like that. So you got to realize you're going to have multiple, you know, you're going to have mining, underground mining, salvage feeding into you. So you are reliant on other people to give you stuff, but they need you to get what they need. Right, you're part of the chain, so you've got multiple things that are feeding into you, though. So again, if you want that social gameplay, because you're always it's customer service. That's what this ship is going to be. 101. If you work at Walmart, this is for you, right?
It's also a supply logistics ship. So if you're in a group and you've got a group of miners, always having one of these available. If you're a miner and you're in a group of miners, then or salvagers, then having one of these just available will probably be reasonable, because it'll be able to expand your abilities without having to build a base. Because like that's the thing. It's like this is the mobile refinery, which otherwise you'd have to go to planet side to build something, which would probably take time and effort and resources. So like when you're building a base, you need one of these, because these would be the cheapest options to start refining and processing to feed those mats into your stuff. So
I would actually like to know that. I always assumed the name was the Expanse because the bags expand, but maybe what you said there makes more sense. Expanding I don't know.
What you can do.
Yeah, maybe let me know in the comments why you think it's called the Expanse, but maybe we can ask Ben and John and they'll get back to us. I'd love to know why it was called the Expanse, because it's just a weird, everyone just assumed it was the TV show, but the fortune, the misfortune.
It's such a misfortunate name.
It's someone, what did someone call it the other day? The unfucking fortunate or something like that. It was someone was talking about it, but it didn't go too well, because it basically came out at the same price as the Vulture, and everyone that already had a Vulture couldn't upgrade to it or was interested in it. It just doesn't seem to be at the same level as the Vulture either. Like it offered everything the Vulture already offered, and in fact, I don't know how this thing break things up. Like even the little Salvation has the grinder wheels. Where's the grinder wheels on this? It just doesn't have it. So and a lot of people will say, oh, it breaks them up, but you've got to have the break up, and then you've also got to have the munching part. There's no muncher on this. So unless they've got some kind of hidden feature in the head or something that they haven't shown off yet, maybe they do. I don't know.
Space magic.
Yeah. So I don't know. If this had come at 150, I think it would have been a lot more taken on board, but at 175, it just didn't fit well with me. I don't know about you, and I know you're a Drake fan. I'd go Vulture. That's just me.
Here's the thing. I think it says something about this year that this was probably the worst received release of the year. That is just great. It's fine, but it's a Vulture for people who don't like Drake, is what it is
basically.
And so like it's fine. It's wonderful for that reason and that reason alone. So it's just kind of like meh. So we've had a hell of a year for ships when like the worst ship is just meh, rather than the why do you exist category, like the DS or something like that. So
and all the cargo's external, and ironically the cargo on the Vulture's internal. So when you kind of look at them at the same price, unless you're really just interested in the tech level, because obviously Misc is at a higher tech level than Drake, but the Drake one does more. So it's like, and it's safer and it's internalized. So I like the look of the Vulture. Let's be honest, it's unique. Sharing the Prospector look, which is obviously going to be the next one, I assume. Oh no, it's not. But it just sullied it for me, and it was clearly an onboarding task. But I don't know. Yep. Right. The Freelancers. We can chuck all those together.
My favorite.
Yeah, please. I'll let you take the lead on this one. Go ahead.
I love the Freelancer series in general. I think that they're some of the best ships available for the price of what they do. They desperately need an interior rework, but if you are a hauler and you want something that is compact, that can go a long distance and carry a lot of cargo, internally especially, because that means you can also carry like vehicles and such. The Freelancer is one of the best versatile ships in the game, like especially when we get to the five systems. Like I love the Cutlass, but this is just the Cutlass that has better range and more flexibility. So
you would agree that it's probably due for some form of rework too after Squadron's out? I think you would agree with me.
Internal rework, yeah, because the problem for those who don't know, this we know that there's at least probably a max in Squadron, because we've actually seen footage of the interior of a frozen Freelancer. So as a result, I have a feeling that a lot of the ships that we've been hammering CIG to update, they just haven't updated them because they don't want to, because they're in Squadron. So they want to have them release a Squadron, and then they'll do the reworks after the release of Squadron, so that they don't confuse people. But yeah, so of these, I would say the most popular is the Max. But of the sleeper, I think the Dur is a sleeper, and I do think that the Misc is a sleeper in the long term.
Yeah, I call this the misery because it just like fires so many missiles at people. It's just kind of crazy.
Torpedoes, size 5 torpedoes. It fires size 5 missiles, which are basically torpedoes.
Yeah, okay, but they are missiles. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember any torpedoes.
I think they're technically missiles, but they're size 5s, and so like they bridge that gap between torpedoes and missile.
I'm not going to argue with you because I'm so tired, but I don't remember them being torpedoes. So yet I don't know because I need to go check up. It's been a long time since I check up on this ship.
It's one of those gray zones where it's size 5s, and the only other thing we see size 5 in terms of torpedo/missiles are torpedoes. So I think it comes down to maneuverability and warhead is the issue. So it's like the biggest missiles you can fire for that are still classified as missiles and not torpedoes.
Size 5, yeah. It is a size 5, but it does have, on the outside, like the others, it has 4. Yeah, so they are missiles technically, but they're not torpedoes. But yeah.
So effectively, what you're firing is like this is effectively like a mini Perseus.
It's almost like size 4 to size 5 guns. Essentially, you just like the maximum size of missile you can get.
For firing at smaller targets, and as a result, like this, I like to see this as like a mini Perseus, and that's that sort of bent, and you can get a lot of them.
Yeah, and it would be the one ship that really I would recommend a third person is really, really required. I think the other thing that the rework needs is to drop most of the variants down. 4 down to 2, and the kind of cargo area in the midsection here should probably just have an extra bed in it for the extra person. That's how I would do it, but they may do it differently. I 100% agree with you about the Dur, by the way. The Dur, it's really weird that it's called the Dur, like as in durability.
Duration.
Right? I never looked at it duration. You're 100% correct, because I was going to say the Dur for durability is what the Zeus ES is. But you're right. If this is duration, that's why I keep Paul around. He's smart, right? Yeah, because it goes really far.
I'm also a Freelancer super fan. So
yeah. But again,
it's got better sensors. It's got its own fuel refinery. Yeah. It's good, and like the Freelancer, you can't go wrong with. It's a base model,
and you get free boobies on the front. Like what, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. The Boob Lancer.
Yeah, Boob Lancer.
There's a Freelancer for what you want, and if you want the versatility, the base Freelancer is always great.
Yeah. Freelancer Max though, and is the same price, but I kind of want to point out at $110, why are people tripping over themselves to get the Clipper? I just don't know. As a longer term backer, I sit here going, why are you all going crazy for this thing? Because I know it does all these little things, but it only has size 1 components. And you can get a much better ship in, say, the Cutlass or this, or the Spirit, that is way cheaper and does multiple people. I don't quite get it. I think it's just the draw card.
Soloable. Entirely soloable.
I think it's because it's soloable, and I think it's because it does multiple things. But yeah, there's just something like it really restricts what you can do gameplay wise. It just doesn't, there's not it's like not enough of everything, not enough cargo, not enough components.
To give you context, I believe we're going to get a Freelancer variant that is a competitor to the Clipper, that it just basically does everything the Clipper does, but it's a Freelancer.
I could totally see that. Well, even that Consolid Outland ship could do that as well.
Yeah.
The one in the silhouette we haven't seen yet.
Almost certainly the Clipper is just, if you're buying it off of utility alone, there will be other ships that have the exact same utility. This is simply their first foray into it, because this is CIG saying, hey, we're doing crafting soon. This is an example of we're going to be doing crafting in the next couple of months. So,
and there's some weird things in that ship space wise that show you that there are gaps. So I would expect variants of the Clipper as well. Would you agree on that? Or
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Right, the Hull A. last time you can get it this price, they said the price is going to go up. I think it's only going to be $10. Would you kind of agree with me on that? Or
yeah, maybe $5 at most, but at least, but yeah, $10 is usually like they do that.
And I think that is a real nail in the coffin for this ship personally, because I'm going to say it. I think the Ox is better. I think the Golem Ox is better for what these are stated meant to do. If you look at the whole series as a whole, this is really the station to planet ship. And by putting the bed and that in the ship, that's the only thing this has over the Golem. It's so it can go further, right? So that's an advantage, but it's a disadvantage because you can't carry 32 or is it 32 or 24 cargo containers. I don't think they fit on this. It's only the 16s.
The max you can do is 16.
Yeah.
Max you can do is 16.
And because of that, it gives a better advantage towards what it's actually doing to the Ox. And being Drake, it'll be cheaper. I can see why it's more expensive again because of tech levels. But I would happily lose the bet on this if it made the ship smaller. I really, really would. And the price was the same. Because then
again,
they're about equal.
I'm gonna come in and say I think this is again speculation, but based off what CIG has said, this is informed speculation. The Hull A is grown beyond its original just take it from station to like a ferry from station to ground. It is now a starter cargo hauler, and as a result, when you're moving from, it's like the advanced starter, but it's like an advanced profession starter is what this is. And when you're moving from system to system with this ship, if you're not going to a system where you have a home in and you need to log out, because it's like, you're ending it up. You don't want to have to spend both the berthing fees, the docking fees, and also have to get a hab to sleep. So you have a bed in, so you only have to pay docking fees and then sleep in your ship. So that way you reduce the cost of.
I can see we're going there. Yeah, I can see that. That is an advantage. Sort of, I can see we're going. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
It's like long haul truckers have sleeping cabs on them, so you can sleep in the back rather than having to pay for.
It essentially gives you the alternative of other locations outside having to stay somewhere. Yeah.
If you want to get the bonuses for rest bonuses.
Yeah. I can see that. Again, and that will come back around in time. Okay. I'll step back from what I said earlier. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But you're right. The Golem is better. The Golem Ox is better because it has so much more versatility, but you're going to be paying more if you have to stay longer.
And the other one that we didn't talk about is the tractor beam. No tractor beam. And the Golem.
There's no tractor beam in this. Yeah.
So I think maybe I could give this $5 more, but I can't give it $10 more. But that's just me. Yeah. All right. Hull B. Concept rework. I think we can kind of agree it's because it's got a land. The spindles didn't work. The most logical layout is taking the whole A and just having 2 panels horizontally, basically, and none at the top and bottom.
Which is going to increase the size. It's going to end up carrying more SCU as a result.
It'll make it
from the necessity.
Well, no, they can make it carry the same SCU. They just make the ship a little longer, basically.
Okay.
But it is a really cool look where it's half wasp like the A. And it starts to look a bit like the Hull C. So, but this is also going up as well. I expect this to kind of go up to kind of where the Raelian is, is my thing. And the raft will kind of come up to where this is. So everyone's kind of like jumping up one slot type of thing is what I'm kind of expecting.
Yeah. And I expect this to be a very popular ship for people. I know a lot of people want the Hull B because it's like, the jump between the Hull B and the Hull C, like this is like 300 something SCU, 400 SCU, and even if it goes up in price, goes up in value to like 400, 500 SCU, the Hull C holds 4,000 SCU, and it's like you're not going to fill that out,
4,608.
Yeah, so like I mean, it's a 4,000. Even if this is 600 SCU, like it'd be a 4,000 SCU jump, and so this is that sort of sweet spot of like.
This is 380.
I can carry effectively. I know it's 380, but it's going to go up.
Yeah, 384 from memory. Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up in size because it's going to carry more. Only because they're going to expand the panels so they can hold 32 SCU crates.
Yep.
So that you'd have 32 SEU crates instead of just the 16 or 24. So while still being able to land.
Yeah, and this kind of moves up to 2 people doing cargo too, so it's going to be a really good little runner for 2 people. I think it's a lot better running cargo for 2 people than the raft, as an example. The raft really does not need 2 people. It clearly was going to be a sky crane to unload the whole sea, and they pivoted because it used to have the 3 box things under it, and now it's just they've kind of taken what they were doing with the golem and put it under the raft. You can kind of see when they were doing back when they would have been doing it for the golem, they're like, oh, we could do this for the raft, and they've just put it under the raft as well. So
because the golem was obviously under production at that point. So
Yep. Anyway, Hull C, $500. This really
she's the queen.
Jumps a lot. Yeah,
Queen of cargo.
I'd still personally prefer a Banner Merchantman when she got to this size. Yes, it's not as much cargo in a Banner Merchantman by less than half, but you can also have the shops. So if you're doing this, all you're doing is cargo, all day cargo. This is in lore. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the lore master. Or the lawman.
The most common ship in the verse.
Yeah. So this is the ship we are supposedly, like, I think we'll see NPCs flying this shit everywhere around space stations.
I think it's called Connex boxes, the Connex freighters that you see today that are the ones that hold like the shipping containers.
Yep.
That's basically what the Hull C is. It's those very generic like freight hauling. It's all like with the stuff piled all the way out of the cargo hold all the way to above it, that sort of thing. These are like if you live near a port town, you know these things because they're all over the place and they could always pull into port. I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area. You see those and you know what I'm talking about, no matter where you are in the world. And that's sort of what the Hull C is going to be. Eventually, when they hopefully get NPCs to start flying around more, we're going to see the Hull C just always. Every time you pull into like Everest Harbor, there's going to be like a handful of Hull Cs always coming or leaving from those ports, just because that's the sort of the thing. But yeah, this is sort of the thing that I would say is valuable for organizations. If you want to be the space trucker, if this is your ultimate goal, and I think for a lot of organizations, this is going to be a huge logistics support for base building and station building and ship building, because it's going to be able to carry just the sheer volume that you need to do those things.
I do think these next 2
oh god,
are starting to get into territory way further down the line now because of the way the game works. And I do think that these probably won't come out for quite a while. If any ship was going to be after the Endeavor, I start to think it is probably the Hull E. Because just put in perspective, this thing holds more cargo than the value of the ship itself. Like, that's how much cargo it holds. These are a holdover from an older age now, but they've sold them, so they're more than likely. I've never seen them ever do refunds, so to speak, but
if they ever did, they might.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna have to make them because they sold them, type of thing at this point.
Here's the thing that I think the D and the E will really function for is when there are more than 5 systems.
Yes,
they're built for 20, 30, 40 systems in the game. Yeah. So like we probably won't see them until until we have the first like round or 2 or 3 rounds of new systems after the game is released before you see these. So this is one of those buyer beware.
Yeah.
I think you'll get a Hull C for buying one of these anyways. So
I'll give you the rough overview. Station and planet, maybe the next planet over. This is literally all within
system
in a system or the next system over. This is literally going large, like halfway across the galaxy type of thing, and it only stops at the major station in each system. This is going the entire length or right round the outside of the entire galaxy.
Possibly without even having to stop the refuel. Like it just goes.
Yeah. It's refueling while it's interchanging its cargo, and it just goes. This thing is just going to be non-stop. But the sheer amount of cargo, like, I cannot imagine the logistics on this thing. It's just to be a nightmare. You are going to want to be a genius level logistics guy to pull this off, because be able to put the cargo on without having to pull off other cargo to put it back on is going to be crazy. So yeah, the Odyssey, the carrot killer as they sold it. Paul Jones, you'll ever live in infamy. I hope you're doing well if you're watching this video.
I really hope he's doing okay, because Ubisoft's getting gutted, man. It's getting gutted so bad.
This ship, I am really leaning towards picking one up. I have been for a long time. because I think there's a lot of money to be made in the essentially exploration of land claims, and I do feel that after we get base building, we'll probably get a smaller version of this first. And at the moment, it's about $100 more than a Carrack, but I think it's also not out yet. So I think when this thing comes out, like you do the basic math, it's probably going to be worth about 850 or somewhere in that ballpark. And I just think if you want to make money in exploration, this will make a lot of money, but you are going to be locked to planets. So you're going to want to be on a planet and making maps and stuff like that. Paul, I know you like to do a lot of relic hunting. How do you feel this would be at finding relic locations? Because I've actually thought about that, and I just want to kind of get your ballpark on that. Because if you're doing the whole planet possibly, right, you'd find shit that other people aren't going to find.
Yeah, I mean, it is as we've always talked about the Odyssey as it's not an explorer, it is a in the sense of like to boldly go to where no one's gone before and find new interesting things. This is like
that's the Carrack.
Your profit. Yeah. This is your profit making. This is the we're going out to find oil. You know, we're exploring, but we're exploring specifically so we can find oil or rare resources or that kind of thing. You know, it's a profit motive.
Just to explain real quickly, much like the whole series, there is a chain. So the Endeavor finds something at range. At another, like it might find a new system that no one's found, or it finds something at range. It then sends the Carrack. The Carrack goes in, scans all the planets and the locations, and then sells that data. And then if there's a planet and it's like, oh, in the data the Carrack found was, oh, this planet's got shitloads of copper. And then this shit goes in and it finds the locations of all that shit and then sells that information to people to build a base or to go there and mine it or whatever. So this is the last part of the exploration chain, but that's probably where the most money is going to be made because you find the, you know, like, so you're not exploring, but you're finding some really cool shit to sell.
This is sort of a not necessarily the mothership, but it would be sort of like a mothership, like a base ship for a small mining organization, you know, because it has its own. Because it has the ability to hold a prospector, so you could use it as its resources, its sensors and other things to find those locations.
I would see it more of as like a scout to find mining bases for a massive mining org. So you like where everyone else is mining on the previous moon or planet, this one's out scouting the next one to find the next one.
It's a lot of crew.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty big crew requirement. So I because of that bay we know can fit a prospector. I think it's very much can serve as a mining because we now know that they're really trying to focus on the repair, refuel, rearm aspects. I could see the Odyssey being a where you land, you refuel your Odyssey your ships from the Odyssey's tanks because the Odyssey could refill its own tanks, and then send it back out, and it just drops off its cargo and pushes it away, and then you just bring it back to refine somewhere, or you have like an Expanse even can come in and land at the same location that the Prospector can, sucks up the dun, and then is able to go off. So
it's essentially an industrial Polaris if you kind of think of it that way.
Yes.
It does have a very small mining laser like the mole, a single mole laser essentially.
But it only has the refinery capabilities for quantanium.
And I firmly believe the reason it has that laser is not just to gather quantanium to extend its range, but obviously extending its range allows it to stay on the planet. So that makes sense. And it doesn't need the repair facilities because it's not going out and running into things like the Carrack.
Yeah.
So that's why it still has first aid. Because it's obviously like the mothership aspect you were talking about, but I firmly believe it's a core sampler because they have these bins that they showed in the video when they sold it, and I think it's gonna. So if you shoot into the ground with your laser and you can pull some stuff out, you can essentially go, oh, this is your land location. Here's some core samples for it. This is what you can kind of expect to find. This is what we found there. So again, if you have it, the data, you can sell it and increases the value of the land claim that you're selling. It makes just so much logical sense to me, which is why we've always kind of said it's a survey ship. So yeah. Right. Anything else on that one, Paul? Or moving right along?
No, I mean it's a highly anticipated ship, but that's one of those ships where I'm sure it'll be a 1.0 ship, but it will. probably be at 1.0 release, because it's one of those where I have a hard time thinking that it will be done sooner than later, because it requires so much more loops involved.
I think it's after.
Really
I think we'll get a small ship that does what it does, and they'll bring this in later. Personally, but yeah, I will say Agrid will say it was the worst ship they've ever sold. He always brings that up. So yeah, it marketed terribly, absolutely terribly marketed. The Prospector, 155, really good ship. All the miners I know, absolutely swear by it. Can't fault it. $155 actually reasonably priced compared to some other ships. Again, if you wanted to make money, like $5 more than the Clipper, that's a solid ship I can go behind, because you're taking all the stuff out of the game yourself. But again, it does lock you into one thing. So the Clipper kind of opens it up, but it's the Master of None. That literally is what that ship is, the Master of None. But yeah. Right. Anything else you want to add on the Prospector, Paul, before we move them on?
I mean, it's if you don't know about it and you want to be a miner, you should know about it, because it's the best miner, especially for like outside of a golem. It's a direct upgrade to the golem because of the swappable heads and such. So,
all right, we can check the Reliant series together. There are 4 of them.
I'm so pained by them. They hurt me so much because they're so cool and you're so bad. The best one of them is the Tana.
Agreed.
The Tana, and I know Bob's talks about it, but I've always talked about how the Tana is a mini Vanguard. It is your intro to mercenary gameplay. You and a buddy can go shoot some things, land. You got a small SCU crate that you can put a bunch of ammo in, and then pull the ammo out. Go. You know, you can use it as a looting. It's like 1/8 SCU crate. Oh, it might be 1 SCU crate, but you can just like loot. It's great for bunker running and that kind of thing. So
it's the cheapest ship for 2 people. A bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's how I'd sell it. I think the other one,
and it's got the firepower for it,
that may be a sleeper that we've never really heard anything on, is the Sen, because of the science element of it. But again, that is so bloody unknown. It is not funny. But I think it will come around again given time. And I think a ship like this that is kind of more focused on non-combat is what the Reliant will kind of excel at.
It's supposed to be.
I think unfortunately it's just not very good because of its flight profile. We've talked about shrinking the wings. There are some fixes they can bring to this, and I think in time it will get them. I just think it's not a priority right now, unfortunately, for them. The Mako I find is a bit gimmicky, but I think it will work eventually. It's the cameraman ship, essentially. You can have a camera on the turret and essentially stream out into the verse, and other people can see it, and Twitch streamers. That it was made as like a content creator thing. It's just a little weird. I guess I'll try it when the functionality comes out, but I don't think it's, what do you call it?
I think the fix to the fix to this is change the camera, because the camera right now is awful. Because it's got a bunch of like weird built-in stuff. Change the camera to a drone, make it a detachable drone that docks back onto the edge where the camera is. And allow for the second person to control the camera, the drone, and make it a very crisp, clean, no HUD sort of thing, or like allow you to remove the HUD. Then it would be infinitely more usable, either as a spy ship, or as a observation ship, or as a like camera ship for what it's designed to do.
I'm going to say, why not both? Why not have the camera so you can fly around, and again, it does the espionage, but also does the streaming, but also have a drone that you can send in, almost like you know how you have those drones that kind of go down to because it makes it a bit like an explorer as well, plus espionage. You know how where they in the Titanic they flip the picture. So something where you can physically manipulate where you are, but you don't have to go into danger. So then all of a sudden it makes it, it does take it away from the drama thing, but it also gives it a function as well. So it'll appeal to more people if you can do a drone like that. But I think that's a really good idea. But I'd also still keep the normal camera.
They would probably need to remove the current one that has like the processing. It's got like the media center. If they replace that with just a drone.
Well, they do have a seat in the back of this for the processing of plants and specimens. So again, you could do a drone seat in the back if you needed it to,
it just where the drone would sit is the only issue, because you'd have to like figure out where the drone would attach. You'd either have to be like attached to the wing, or
I've said for ages,
by hands.
On this variant, they should put some of the cargo into the wings, so you could literally just have the drone come out of the wing or something like that, or literally it could just detach from the turret. So maybe the two turrets become drones, and they're both detachable, or one's detachable, or whatever. They can work it out. But yeah, the core variant, it doesn't work very well because it's $65. It carries the same amount of cargo as an Avenger, and so the Avenger just wipes the floor with it. And the 315P carries twice as much, and it also wipes the floor with it from a cargo perspective.
Because it's so small in terms of its profile. So yeah.
And
the Corey doesn't have any purpose unless they increase the number to 12, and then it becomes a little bit more viable. Like there's a lot of work these things need to get done, and I think it's just because it was in that bridge between there's like three real which is pre metrics, and then there's the post metrics, and then there's the 1.0 era. So the post metrics, this was a post metric ship, but pre 1.0 era. And so it was a ship that was built with the understanding of what Star Citizen's scale was like, but not what the gameplay was like. So it's sort of not filled into that gap as a result.
I'm brave farting on the Star Wars character's name a bit, but it's Ahsoka Tano, I think her name is. The guy
Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, the guy that made this ship literally left CIG to go on and work on Star Wars films when the new series was announced. And you can clearly tell that he remade this in the Ahsoka Tano ship.
The Ahsoka series,
it's almost freaking identical. And I think that's funny because they can't if they ever sued them, then CIG could countersue. That's all I'm going to say. So they've got mutual self-destruction, which is great. Right. Starfarer and Starfarer G. Starfarer in game versus out of game is a bit weird because out of game, this is the one that comes with all the stuff, but in game, this is just a fuel transporter, and in game, this is the fuel transporter and a refinery. But out of game, you get all the stuff that comes on this, so this makes this the better buy because you're getting all the kit, and you can kind of mix and match, and it comes with extra armor, etc. It's a really weird gameplay because it's the only ship that does the refueling currently. I don't think it'll be the last one we get. It's also the only ship that actually is a fuel refinery. We know it's got refineries on it. It's got 3 of them. They're the same size as the Expanse. So it's a proven gameplay. These are some ships I expect to see next year. Kind of like what you were saying when we talked about the Golem yesterday, and I 100% agree with you. The Golem fuel transporter refueler variant, 100% a thing in my book. Oh, well, I would like it to be, but it just makes a lot of sense to me with how that works. I think you'd agree that other ships, when they've already got the gameplay and they've been trying to get sell more ships, it just makes sense to take the gameplay they've got here and pop another couple of ships out and make some refueler variants. I think you would agree with that, yeah? And then, all right, Andy, anything else you want to add?
I think that the refinery capability of this is going to be the big draw for it. It's got to be its main focus.
Agreed.
And the other thing is that it desperately needs an internal rework, but because it is such a big part of Squadron, we already know it because it's mentioned by name multiple times in the Squadron vertical slice, and we see them flying around in other Squadron. And it is clearly that Starfarers are big, and they're at the point in development they cannot change the layouts of the levels. To such a drastic degree to be able to keep their schedule. So it's just it needs an internal rework because it's built badly, but it doesn't really have a purpose right now unless you're really looking for a crew to support gameplay for a group gameplay.
As the universe gets bigger though, and you're doing those
longer jumps,
I could see these running with Hull series as an example to keep them refueling and stuff like that, and it goes off and collects fuels while they're unloading, etc.
And when there's actually NPC missions that say, hey, we need a refuel, or I need a refueling at this point, then it'll make some money. But
as you were saying about the internal rework, a really quick example is this has crawl spaces. Crawl spaces are not a thing anymore. That just shows you how much it kind of needs a rework. My mic is popping in. Right, Starlancer Max, Starlancer Attack, and I wish I could chuck the build in, but we're done. These are the last 2. Right, I will let you have your say because you know what I'm going to say.
You hate this.
So, yeah,
you hate this. You hate this. I love it. So
I no, look, I never hate ships. I just want them to be better. I want to clarify that. I am unhappy with how this was created. It feels like it was a rush job. Can tell it was a rush job because they lost a lot of people and they had a lot of people being onboarded, and so they were spread thin when they made this, and it really shows, right? And a lot of people hated on me when I came out and said I had issues with it. You're more than entitled to your opinion. I 100% agree. You say what you want to say. But then as time went on, now I'm hearing a lot more people come back to me and saying, you were right. It's just taking me longer. And they brought it and used it, and it took them that long to kind of get to the same point I was at. But yeah.
I believe the Starlancer series is the what the Polaris is for combat, the Starlancer is for utility. I still think the TAC is great. The reason why everyone hates the TAC is because it's not a meta ship, which is like, okay, but like there are so many aspects to the TAC that it needs to get that still needs to get added into the game to make it viable. Especially it has an insane long range fuel capacity because it's a Misc ship, and that's sort of their shtick.
I just think David Haddock can't spell tar. It should be the Starlancer tar because it's a giant fucking target. Right, go ahead.
That's the point though. Is it's a I've always said, and I know your experts, like the military experts say, I don't get this. It's like, I get this because it is to the AC-130. It is to what your typical combat vehicle is to the like a technical. This is a technical version of an AC-130. Like it is what you would do with if you wanted to make your own version of a AC-130, but you only have like a 707 kind of approach, a DC-10. So it's fine for group gameplay that wants to do some space combat, some ground combat. It just needs to be a little bit tougher, and it needs some things like flak. The guns need to be able to actually target ground targets a little bit better. I don't like the Fury hangar, but I get why the Fury hangar exists. It kind of makes the Fury make sense. Whereas the Max is in my opinion the sort of the cargo ship for your four dudes having a good time doing some cargo. Like that's really what it is.
I think they need to give it the Gemini treatment. I think they need to give it extra armor like the Gemini. That would be how I would kind of go about fixing it in the easiest.
It's going to be tougher.
Yeah. That said, I cannot recommend it based on the other things I said, but also the Paladin exists. Like it's cheaper. It's got way more guns to bear. You
can't put a vehicle on a Paladin though. But again, there's not a lot of value for a vehicle.
What you're giving up some of the guns to get more versatility. I get what you're trying to say, but it just makes the ship grow so much in size that it literally doubles. It balloons, and it's not targeted. It's like let's try and do everything and not do anything well. It's the master of none again, and that's the issue. And again, I a lot of the military guys like. You take the right tool for the right job because then you're trimming the fat, and this is just the opposite of how the military kind of looks at things. They don't take everything to one job; they take exactly what they need. And again, you could have a whole second ship that stays back and does the military and the not the military, the medical and all that type of stuff that's out of harm's way. So I get where you're coming from. It is one ship in one package, but it loses some of that because of it. I agree with you.
It's not a military ship. It's a militia ship.
Exactly.
It's what civilians could do with what they have. So it's not going to be it's when you don't have a big logistics chain and you need to have one ship that can do everything, that can go the long distances, explore, can do a little bit of patrolling. So it's a
mini Polaris.
What do we have?
Mini Polaris is what I've heard it's called. It's really good for 4 people. Like I can see the appeal. Trust me, I can, right? But then with all the other stuff I talked about, like how it's layout and stuff and all that's where it really loses me. I actually like the functionality of it. I like the player choice behind it. I just freaking terribly laid out. Don't even get me started on the hangar because that's where you really lose me. But yeah.
I will say that I'm also biased because the guy who made the Starlancer is like I like his style. He's He's been in CIG for a very long time. He's done a lot of different ships. He's done most of the Misc ships, if I remember correctly. And he's a really cool dude in general. And when he came out with Starlancer, I'm like, this is perfect. I love it. And
so when I come over to the American Citizen Con or whatever, and I get punched in the face, I'll know who it is. Right? Okay, good to know.
he's actually British.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't get hit last time, so I'm safe. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's it. That was a long one. That was an hour and 10 minutes.
There's just a lot to cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah. Misc is a big one now. And putting in with the other few manufacturers kind of drag that out a little bit. Right. With that then, I think we'll kind of anything you want to hear from people in the comments below, I guess.
I want to hear your favorite version of the Freelancer. Tell me your favorite version of the Freelancer.
Yep. And I will take all your hate comments below. Yep. No worries. Just give them to me.
The other thing is, what other Kruger vessels would you like to see?
That's a good one.
Kind of variety of Kruger would you want to see?
Definitely some shop ships. I can see some Kruger stuff in there, like the barber shop or something like that. And I mean, like they're obviously going to have different shops, but you got what I mean. There's definitely a 400i competitor in there somewhere. I'm just saying, I could, you know, that really big Queen Amidala ship. You know, I'm seeing VIP that I actually like. I'm seeing luxury that I actually like. You know what I mean? So
that is one of the things I talked about before. The blockade runner, the Naboo like blockade runner or course whatever. You know,
I finally will be happy one day when all those people that get annoyed at me for, as they say, hating on Origin when I just want them to be better, when they kind of understand what I've been saying all this time. Because I do think Krueger are going to really start to give RSI and Origin a run for their money when it comes to luxury, and I think people will start to see what I've been trying to emphasize all this time. But yeah, all right. Where can people find you on the interwebs, Paul?
Twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropub live, youtube.com/theastrohistorian, and of course youtube.com/@the Podcast. We'll be doing after this. I'm going to be doing my lore tours that I've been doing. In fact, I'm going to be doing a special office hours because I usually do those on Thursdays, but because Thursday is Thanksgiving in the US, I'm going to be doing a little bit of that today.
Would you like me to come along and annoy you or not? I'll let you say no.
You can do so. We're going to be talking a lot. It'll be a pretty long one because we just mentioned it's Misc and Mirai's got a huge history, and then Kruger's got its own history. So
we should do a lore video one day on the Endeavor, and me and Agra to come along. That could be interesting. Anyway, like that idea. We'll talk about it later. Right. With that, then don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. With that, then he's been Astropub.
He's been Execute.
See you, citizens.